Before we get started, do me a favor and smash that like button. I'd appreciate it. Okay, hello folks. I've got LT Flying on the line here, and we're going to do video number 3 and talk about the upcoming release in late in the year of Mainnet 4.0 and the Theta Meta Chain. So, good afternoon, LT.
Good afternoon, Teddy. We're having a beautiful day here and enjoying the day. So it's nice to be able to take a little time and talk about Theta and what's going on with the Theta blockchain. Our first couple of talks about this 4.0 meta chain, they call it. We've covered quite a bit, but there's still quite a bit yet to cover. I think we'll be able to finish it up. We're about 2/3 of the way through the white paper. So we have a few topics to cover today. One is they do quite a comparison between themselves, the meta chain, and then 3 other projects, Cosmos, Polkadot, and Avalanche, to compare their chains and how they do it to these others. Then they go deeper into the Theta Video API, how that's going to work and interact with the chains and with through the different processes. And then we'll get into the digital rights management, the NFT digital rights management, which is going to be a huge deal for, people being able to, have claim of their intellectual property and make sure they get appropriately paid for that. And then how they're going to be able to use the Theta Edge node system for storage, and have the Edge Store system, and then we'll wrap it up with a summary. So that's what we got laying out ahead of us, and the so we can just jump right in. This comparison that they do between the meta chain and these other crypto projects that are also multi-chain type projects. So one of the things that they do right off the bat is tell us about what a couple things that are different, that are make the meta chain a better chain, or a better project to use for developers to use. And the first is the interchain messaging channel. They've developed this interchain messaging channel, so it's a messaging that can go from or a channel that can go from one subchain to the main chain, or to another subchain. So these chains can be in communication with one another, which will then help move that data along faster. So that's one of the big improvements that the Theta meta chain has over the other chains. And then the other thing, the decision they made, which seems like a small thing but actually is very big, is that across all subchains and on the main chain, they use T-Fuel as the gas token. So any gas fees on these chains are all paid in T-Fuel. So I guess that's going to help to simplify the movement of payment from the subchain onto the main chain, and back for payment onto the edge nodes. So this is a seemingly small, but I think very big difference. So what they did is they laid out a table, and in this table they lay beside each other the Theta meta chain, Cosmos, Polkadot, and Avalanche, and talk about a few different categories. And scalability is, of course, one of the major categories, and they're all about the same, really, in that the MetaChain, Cosmos, and Avalanche all have an unlimited transaction throughput and are unlimited in scalability. Polkadot has some limitations, but pretty much all three of the others, MetaChain, Cosmos, and Avalanche, are all the same. Transaction finalization time, though, does vary quite a bit, and with the MetaChain, they're targeting a 1 to 2 second at most transaction finalization time, and they think they'll actually get to be in sub-seconds, actually less than a full second, in doing this transaction finalization, where the other chains are anywhere from 3 to 6, 7 seconds, or up to 60 seconds for finalization. So the MetaChain is definitely going to be a clear advantage there. Security, they go deep into the security of the chains and how the different chains work with one another, and the Theta MetaChain has a clear advantage in a security feature. Where a subchain, if it gets compromised, then the validators are actually going to be able to stop that from making it onto the main chain, and the validators on the subchain will be able to shut that one down. Excuse me. So they've worked out features that really secure the chain, the main chain, and then the subchains from each other. So then they go into the DApp, dev and user experience. They're really trying to make this subchains and programming to the main chain seamless. And dev teams have been programming in with other chains would easily be able to come and program or do their projects, port their projects, if you will, to the Theta MetaChain. So they make a very big thing out of this EVM support across the board. So and that's not the case on these other chains. So what we're seeing here clearly down through each of these categories is that the Theta MetaChain has a clear advantage. And then interoperability, in that all subchains are connected through the main chain via interchain messaging channels, or the IMC, and at most 2 hops between any 2 chains. So IMC has much less overhead than these other chains, so it's going to be cheaper to operate on the Theta MetaChain in going from one project to another, or one subchain to another chain, that kind of thing. So they have built in to their system in the Theta MetaChain through this interchain messaging channel, this interoperability concept, and it's going to be easy and cheap to operate across chains within the Theta MetaChain. So I would think that this is going to really help with bringing over the developers, the people that are going to have the knowledge and the wherewithal to create this different subchains and the different projects on the Theta main chain. So that's really what they're striving for, I do believe. You still there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You got really quiet on me there.
Yeah.
So So, of course, all this is done primarily through this uh, feature that they released last October, and that is the Theta Video API. And so this, the Theta Video API, which I'm not very familiar with, maybe you can tell us a little bit about an API and what it is from a standpoint, you know, the knowledge that you have.
Well, you've actually got three terms that they all kind of interact with each other. You've got API, which stands for Application Programmer Interface, and the more robust the API, the more things that the programmers can do. And the programmers use what is called a Software Developer Kit, or SDK, to do their programming, and that is essentially the toolbox that Theta creates for the developer community to use. And then the third term is RPC, which stands for Remote Procedure Call, and that is going to be using that was it IMC that you mentioned there?
Yes,
that will use that to communicate. So basically the RPC is where the subchain, that's how it will communicate to the main chain when it needs to through a remote procedure call, and the main chain is always listening for a remote procedure call coming in from one of the subchains.
Okay. So that's what Theta is doing, is the Theta Labs team are developing these tools that are needed for a team to come in and build projects on top of the Theta meta chain. And that's why these hackathons that they're having are so important. It's to give the opportunity for people that want to develop something to work on that, develop it, present it to the Theta Labs team, and the Theta Labs team then, you know, be able to financially reward somebody for creating a good project, but also giving them support and to bring that project onto the Theta network and the Theta ecosystem and get it set up and running. That being a project that people might be able to use or utilize, like OpenTheta.io or the Theta board or GWorld with its DeFi project in the liquidity pool. So these are all examples of different development teams that came up with an idea, built an application, and then implemented it on the Theta blockchain. And now Theta is going to make it even easier. They're trying to really reach out to the development community to create the processes needed for people to use. And they're not just trying to develop things for, you know, large companies or big tech to use, but also things for an individual, right down to an individual that wants to upload some video or take care of, you know, some projects that's important to them. So I think that's important, that they're really trying to make it user friendly. Now, mainly these tools are for developers, but for somebody that wants to do these things themselves, they're going to be able to do it. The tools are there. So, but that API interface is one of the most important things. So, the things we'll be able to do is the edge store, or also encoding and ingesting. The edge nodes will be doing encoding and ingesting, and the edge nodes will be doing delivery of information. And so we can see real quickly that besides the development teams come up with the project, they're going to be using the Theta Video API, and then the edge system is very much needed. So Theta has decided to give a little extra support to people who run an elite edge node. So in this process, they've decided that the elite edge nodes will be prioritized over a regular edge node. So for somebody that's willing to put 10,000 T-fuel, stake 10,000 T-fuel to an edge node and run that edge node, that they're going to have priority for these encoding jobs, for the store jobs, and other job assignments. So they're trying to create incentive for people to have their edge nodes made into elite edge nodes by staking T-fuel to them. So that's good for those that are already doing that and are willing to keep that edge node staked as a elite edge node.
Right. Matter of fact, that the thing that DeGard talked about, the bonded T-fuel, they've it's been proposed to the Theta team, and the Theta team has come back and asked them to do a full write-up on it because they're interested. And the idea would be, if I've got 10,000 T-fuel staked to an edge node, I can unstake it and put it into the liquidity pool where I will earn more. But with the bonded T-fuel, when I put my T-fuel into the edge node, I will be given bonded T-fuel to replace what I had staked to the edge node. So I'll be still receiving staking rewards from the edge node, and I'll be receiving the payout from the liquidity pool at the same time. So that is something that has been proposed, and the Theta team has indicated a significant level of interest in that concept.
Right. So it's beneficial to everybody. I mean, you're basically getting two benefits for owning, T-fuel and holding T-fuel, keeping it staked. So that's a good that's good for everybody. So the other thing Theta is doing is a hybrid configuration support. So with their system, they're setting it up so that already existing in the existing infrastructure that's out there today, such as Amazon Web Services, AWS, or the Google cloud storage system, the GCP, I think they call it, and other such services that are out there, can start implementing the use of Theta and the Theta meta chain for part of what they do, and to see if it's going to work for them. And if it does work for them, then they can move more of what they do onto the Theta meta chain. This could be huge savings for these large companies that have lots of data to store or lots of computing to do, and being able to use that, move that on to more and more edge nodes as more edge nodes come online, as it becomes more available around the world. Then it'll be beneficial for people to continue to run those edge nodes or start up new ones. And as that happens, these large companies will be able to possibly shut down part of the servers that they have and move that data more and more so onto the Theta ecosystem. At some point in the future, we could potentially see that the everything will be moved onto a blockchain. That we'll no longer need these hosting services, these big server farms. That it will be able, this information will be able to be stored and maintained on the edge node network of edge nodes that they'd have in the Theta blockchain.
Right.
So they expect to be able to move. Yeah. Go ahead.
The likes of, say, YouTube as an example, they don't go away. They would be basically be able to downsize to a large extent, but they don't go away totally, because the user that says, you know, they go to YouTube and they say, I want to watch that video. Well, it's totally transparent to the user how they receive the video, and basically YouTube communicates, you know, takes the request from the user, communicates to the edge network to serve up that video, but the YouTube server farm is still in there communicating, you know, with the end user. And so if the end user needs a video segment and the edge network for whatever reason is not able to serve that up, YouTube steps in and serves it up. So they won't go away completely, but they will be able to downsize with the edge network, because the edge network would take over the primary function of distribution, and it's totally transparent to the individual user. They know nothing about how they're getting the video. They just know they asked for the video and they get it.
Right. Which is, you know, how adoption is going to happen, rather than everybody trying to learn how to run an edge node and know how to operate on the blockchain. These companies, developers, if you will, are going to come along, develop the applications, and then people are just going to use the applications. What's happening on the backside, they don't know, and they really don't care, as long as they're getting the content that they're asking for. So how it happens, you know, that's totally up to the content provider, and Theta's trying to be the content delivery network. So that's, you know, part of the use case is video delivery. So that's what they're trying to do. The other thing is be able to have NFTs. This gets into the NFT, digital asset hosting. So NFTs can be used to do all kinds of things, from ticketing for special events to you know, utility cases such as what we're using NFTs for in the liquidity pool, to digital rights management. So the NFT and the use of NFTs are going to become a larger and larger use on the blockchains as we go forward. And so those are certainly use case for Theta. And then web hosting, just generic web hosting, we'll be able to do right through the Theta Video API dashboard that they have, to look at the way things are being delivered, how somebody will be able to go and use that dashboard to determine the what's going on with their videos. You know, are people watching them? Are they not? When they start? All those kinds of things. So this is all good use cases for the Theta blockchain. So to fully support the cases throughout 2020, 2022. They're going to be rolling out new features and getting them going. This, of course, we know we already got the Theta Video API came out in October. We know that coming out in the second quarter is the Elite Edge node to be updated so they can do encoding of video on demand. In the second quarter, also going to have live stream support, which is also an update to the Edge node system. And then in the fourth quarter, we'll have the full API interface released with the Theta meta chain. So a lot's going to happen over the next 9 months or less. So
it's exciting
the
stuff
digital
coming.
rights management, it is so they go into this how the Theta Video API is going to be used, and how it's going to be fairly simple to use. What I notice as I'm reading through this, is what sounds simple to them. They say, well, you only have to write a few lines of code. I'm thinking, I don't know how to write code, but I have to keep remembering as I'm reading through this that they're really talking to development teams. They're talking to people that are programmers here, and they're trying to make sure that those people are thinking about moving their project onto the Theta blockchain. That's what they're trying to do, is write this for the person making a decision about whether they want to try to bring their project to the Theta blockchain. So that's the who this is written for, not the end user. So that's what I would be,
Right. The Theta team is they're creating the API and the toolkit for the development teams to go out and create the magic, to go out and create the Theta swap and the Bolt swap and all of those different things. They're really not intending for the layman to do a lot of these things. They're intending for the development community out there to take the tools that they're providing and create the things that the layman needs to be able to, like OpenTheta, to be able to go on there and buy a NFT, and also to sell an NFT, and not need to understand the details of how it's done. It's kind of like, you get into a car, all you got to know how to do is turn the key to start the car, and you got to know the difference between the gas pedal and the brake, but you don't have to understand the internal workings of an internal combustion engine. You just got to know that, hey, if I turn the key and I press the gas, the car's going to go.
Right. Make sure you got gas in it. But yep, it's going to go.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what they're trying to do. And as a part of this, especially with video and music and these types of things, this patent that they got for the digital rights management is huge, because they're going to be able to use the NFT based DRM to help artists and help people control the intellectual property that they own in their performance, or in the concert that they put on, or the art that they have, to keep it from that property from being duplicated and just put out to everybody without the artist getting paid as they should be paid. So that's one of the major friction points, as they point out here, is one of the major friction points for content rights holders to use decentralized video streaming, is that how is it controlled and how do they get paid? Well, the DRM is how they're going to be paid that through the use of that NFT and the particular system that they laid out on how they're going to be able to control those videos on a decentralized peer-to-peer system. And so again, that's one of the upgrades to the Elite Edge Nodes system that's out there that'll be coming in this second quarter of 2022 is upgrade to be able to handle the digital rights management.
Yeah,
so,
and we are currently in the second quarter. It started April 1st and it goes to the end of June. So sometime between now and the end of June, if they maintain their schedule, they'll be coming out with that.
Right. And so, and also here in this second month of June, or in this second quarter, they're going to be coming out with an upgrade to the Edge Node that is for the Edge Node storage capability. So those people that are running Edge Nodes will be able to use their Edge Node just to store information, store data, and get paid for that. So that's another way for adoption to happen. I was talking to a friend of mine just last night and telling him about this process, and said, as you're working, your phone is going to be able to just store information on it and make money.
Yeah.
It's going to make fuel for you. Just all you got to do is have that Edge Node set up and running, and you have it going. So he looked at me kind of inquisitively, but yeah, that's what's going to happen, I think, as people start understanding. And then, we just had Samsung release TVs and phones with Theta already loaded up on them. And so as that kind of thing starts happening, more and more the manufacturers of the hardware start loading this software on it. It just makes it easier for somebody to decide, well, let's turn that on. Oh, I can make money with this. Okay, turn it on, and let that device start working, start connecting up to the network, and start running that Edge Node.
Right.
So,
matter of fact, the Samsung announcement, just to clarify, it's just using the Theta network as the NFT platform, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more things to come.
right.
Eventually the TVs are going to have an actual Edge Node built into them for relaying video and other kinds of repeating data. So right now Samsung is just saying, hey, we're going to use the Theta network for NFTs.
Right. It's just the first little step into the great big world of storage. Just how many servers are out there that they're doing it? All they're doing is storing data, and you can have that stored across a network of Elite Edge Nodes. So.
Oh yeah, they'll your computer, hard drive space these days is cheap, so you can go out and pick up a 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte hard drive, and in the Edge Node, when they release the update, there will be a way for you to carve out and say, Theta is allowed to use this much of my hard drive space, and then Theta will use it to store pieces of data that are needed in the Edge network.
Right. Exactly. So that's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So in summary, this whole thing is summarized by the Theta Labs folks like this, I'll let them put it in their own words. As applications and businesses transition into Web3, they will require customizable, high-performance blockchains to ensure new business models and tools for value creation. Theta Metachain will be created to meet the needs of video platforms, ticketing companies, metaverses, and many other enterprises as they evolve to decentralized models that put value capture and data ownership back in the hands of users. By transitioning to the Metachain model, enabling potentially unlimited transactional throughput and sub-second block finalization, Theta will be ready to meet the needs of applications with millions of users and transactions per day. Each platform or Web3 business can have their own subchain that is highly customizable and comes with the transparency, security, and credibility of public blockchains. Media and entertainment companies can implement their own dedicated subchains with all the Web3 tools they require for video, compute, and storage via Theta Video API, Edge Store, and NFT-based digital rights management. So, pretty big statement that they're trying to be the new internet, basically.
Right.
A whole new internet, a whole new way of
I suspect
the
they will
video.
succeed.
Yes. I don't know that it's going to be tomorrow, right? Or even this time next year, is that by this time next year, they'll just have gotten out to the world their full Metachain, their SDK, their API, and their DRM. See, we know what all those are.
Yeah.
Now, this is I won't say it all be new, but these are things that people are already doing on other chains. That's the thing I love about Theta, really, is that they weren't first, but because they were not first, they're able to correct some of the shortfalls of what's out there and make a better product. So that's that's an advantage of being second.
Yeah.
So
sometimes being the first mover is not always the best.
Yeah.
You sit back and you quietly watch what the other guy's doing, and then you improve upon what he's doing. And just think of Facebook. Then they kind of, or not Facebook, MySpace, and then they kind of went away and got replaced by Facebook because Facebook made a better mousetrap than MySpace. So MySpace is, I don't think they're totally non-existent now. I do believe they do still exist, but
so the great things in the future, I believe, for Theta, and I'm staying the course.
Oh yeah, well, just think about where we were last year compared to where we are now. It's like if you're around your grandchild, all the time, you don't notice a lot of little subtle changes that occur. But if you only see them, say, once a year, they show up after you haven't seen them for a year, and you're like, holy crap, you're 6 inches taller, and well, that's Theta Network. If you look back where we were a year ago and compare it to where it is now, you realize that they actually have made progress.
Right. Just a year ago, they They hadn't put out mainnet 3 yet.
No.
We didn't have staking of T-Fuel.
No.
We
and we didn't have
So-
Open Theta or Volt Swap or
Right.
Right. Theta, so we didn't have any of that stuff. Now we do.
Right. Exactly.
The only thing we don't
and many
have
other
is,
projects.
The only thing we don't have is a $50 Theta, but that'll come in time. People, just be patient.
Well, I have, as the price stays down, it just gives me the opportunity to acquire more because I have limited amount of discretionary funds
Yep.
that I can put toward it. So I believe in the project enough that I am applying more funds, more of my discretionary funds toward, getting some more Theta, some more T-Fuel. Those important to get that now because, of course, we know there's 1 billion Theta and 64, almost 65% of it is staked already. So there's only about a third of it left to be able to get your hands on. So
Oh yeah.
That's
you could make a decision to carve out just a tiny fraction of your daily rewards from the LP, and pick up 5 more Theta every day, just 5,
right.
And if you do that consistently, that 5 every day adds up to quite a bit over the course of a year.
Sure.
What's 5 times 365?
Right. I don't want to do public math.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a calculator right here on my phone. Anyway, so
and one more
how about
thing.
1,825 Theta?
Yeah, that's quite a bit. If you just carved out just
almost 2 Guardian nodes.
Yeah. So if you just carved out just a tiny fraction of your daily, LP rewards, and throw it at it, there you go. But one thing before we wrap this up, that I know this question is going to come up because I've seen it before, and that is people say, well, what if I don't, I'm running an edge node and I don't want to be carrying on my edge node certain things, and let's say there's some kind of pornography or something that somebody's spitting out, and you don't want that on your edge node. Well, you're going to have the ability to control. You would be able to put in, for example, I don't want things from this URL being relayed across my computer, and that's where these whitelisting services will come into play. Is you would be able to just subscribe to a whitelisting service, that you trust, that if they ain't whitelisted a URL, then that URL will not be relayed with your edge node. And on top of that, you would be able to also go in and specify on your own specific ones. Maybe the whitelist doesn't have it, but you want to lock that out. You're going to be able to do that. That's what they're going to be building in to the edge node, that capability. It may not be tomorrow, but it will come. Guaranteed, it will come.
Well, that's that's good, because there's certainly things I wouldn't want to be a part of. I wouldn't want to be supporting, and so if we have that type of capability, then that's certainly welcomed. So
yeah, and it'll be there. That's for sure. Well, have we pretty much covered everything you want to cover?
We have made it all the way through the white paper. So there's a lot of other little nuanced stuff in there. Like I said, it's mostly written for developers. It's written for people who say, okay, well, I think I'd like to, and it's to help them to understand what they're going to be able to do on the Theta blockchain. But as we read through it as investors going, wow, they're going to be able to do this and they're going to be able to do that. So it really gets me excited in what's to come. So
oh yeah,
makes me want to stay with it.
Yeah,
so.
Me too. Okay, well, I want to thank you for spending the time to do this, and I'll go ahead and get it edited up and try and get out there either later today or tomorrow for sure.
Okay.
Well, that's a wrap for this presentation, so cue the music. If you enjoyed the video, then hit that thumbs up for me, and I'll see you in the next video.